Welcome back to another episode of War Hero to Superhero, helping military, veterans, and first responders transforming their lives from the bedroom to the boardroom. I am one of your hosts, Daniel Faust, and this month is August. Things go by so fast, huh? So happy Wednesday to you and happy August. Our theme for this month, as you heard yesterday, was transformation. We stick to that theme for the entire month. But this week, we are in the bedroom. As you can go over and see virtually in our bedroom, we hope you come over and visit and to glean on transformation in the bedroom. And today, we're going to talk about something special, which we talked about a little bit in our 1 o'clock episode that we were with Jamie Chapman, and hopefully you got to watch that live. But we're going to expand on knowing your lover's sexual style. You're right. You're probably confused all at the same time. So there is a sexual personality style to each and every one of us. So this is brought to you by the book Body and Soul. So if you get a chance to read the book Body and Soul, it was a book written in the 1990s. Let me go look up the title real quick so I can go over and give you the exact parameters of it. You know, it's funny when you have everything set up and you're like, Body and Soul is by, give me 1 second. Body and Soul is by Dwayne Story and Sanford Colkin. So if you're looking for that book, kind of looks like this. Bam, right there. It's an old title. The cover is probably not that fancy, but the information is to die for. So let's go dive in. We're going to visit this at a 30,000 foot level. If you want to go more, go find the book Body and Soul. Do you know your partner's sexual style? That's the first question I have for you. And the second question I have for you is, how do you determine their style? That can be complicated, right? You know, sometimes you maybe been with your partner for a couple months, maybe you've been them for decades. And sometimes we think we know them. And those nights that it's getting really hot and heavy, and you're like, yeah, and then it fails. Or you're going over and you're hopeful all day, and then something doesn't happen. Or one thing was said, or one action was done, or one way of the mood wasn't gone, or a certain setting. You know, if you ever watched the show Big Bang Theory, when Penny and Leonard get together, I think it's in season 4. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. And then he starts babbling along and like, what the hell? Why'd you even speak? The whole night got wrecked just for one interaction. Why do you think that went over and happened? It's because Leonard didn't know Penny's sexual style, and neither did they. They learned over through the years, but why go over and trip and keep getting hit and missing every single time? So we want to teach you how to go determine their style, their primary style, that is. And it's basically by 2 questions. These 2 questions can be asked of any person on the planet, and the way they go over and answer it is that's their primary sexual style. We are a blend of all the styles once we get into it, but to determine their primary, only 2 questions have to be asked. The first one is, are you outgoing or are you reserved? So, based on how your spouse or yourself goes over and answers that first question, that answers about roughly 10% of your sexual personality style. Are you more outgoing in the sense of how sexual you are and how you express yourself in the bedroom? Or are you more of a reserve and you have to warm up and you're more like a crock pot compared to a microwave? Usually, the outgoing people are more fun in the bedroom initially, and the reserved people are a little more quiet in the bedroom initially. So where do you go register in that? If you don't know in the bedroom, how is it you live in the living room, or how do you live in the boardroom? What would you say you're more like personality style? Are you more outgoing the majority of the time, or are you more reserved of the time? And the easy way to answer this is that when people are in your life, do you get energized from people or not energized from people? Wait a minute, that's the second question. So we'll get into that in a second. Getting a little confused on myself, and plus everybody's giving notifications. Question 2 is, are you more task oriented or people oriented? In this particular regard, do you go over and treat sex as a task? It's like thought in your mind and everything else, or is it more about feelings and in the moment and you're a specific person that you're thinking about the entire day? This actually shapes about 90% of your sexual personality style. So when you go over and answer these 2 questions, are you outgoing or reserved in the bedroom? And then the second question is, are you more task oriented or people oriented? When you take those 2 questions and answer them combined, you get your primary sexual style on where you would go over and explore, what you would go over and do, and those types of things. And we're going to dive right into that. So again, once you answer those two questions, you'll understand your primary style. So if you have answered that question, please go put that in the chat. Go put like outgoing in task, or reserve in people, or reserve in task, or reserve in people, or outgoing in task oriented, or outgoing in people oriented. Whatever the two that you went over and chose on this question and that question, we'd love to go over and see in the chat, so then you can know what type of style that you're looking for. And when you start reading the book Body and Soul, you'll go over and have a deeper understanding what to go dive into. And you can also then flip to the chapter that would be most applicable to you. So first, there's the dominant style. You would have answered the question outgoing and task oriented. So if you answered you feel you're more outgoing and task oriented, this is probably your primary sexual style. Here's a couple things to go over and to register more with it and what they go over and do. So if you're a dominant sexual style, sex to you is another goal for you to go over and achieve, or if you have a dominant lover in your life, it's a goal for them to go over and achieve. So they don't look at it towards the person, they look at it towards the task. Another thing is that it's an outlet for frustration. So they get home from work or from a certain situation, and they have a lot of frustration pent up. And in the bedroom, they might go over and be like, have sex to go over and to get that release and to get that relief. There's 4 stages of sexual intimacy: desire, excitement, orgasm, and release. They go very fastly through the D-OR cycle. Doesn't matter if it's guy or girl. They want to go over and fast. They want it furious. They want to go over and to have that frustration relief. So they go over and they had a bad day. They want to strip their clothes off and go over and have some fun. And that's for them. They're also very assertive in sex. So they're going to be right up front going over and asking for it point blank. This doesn't matter if it's guy or girl. When it comes to a girl, our society says, hey, that's a little too forward. But assertive and aggressive is a drastic difference. Assertive is just being direct and going and asking. Aggressive is going over and pushing your agenda. So no matter if you're a guy or girl in this particular sexual style, assertiveness is going to be seen. The other styles might not pursue. They'll go over and engage and respond, but to go over and to push forward the envelope, to go over and to woo the person, to go over and directly ask, like, hey, it's been a long day. You want to have some? They would go over and ask. They would just be straight point blank. They'd also probably, you would tend to think that they're kind of crass if you're on the opposite sexual style. You're thinking, like, you can't go do that here. They try to like make out in public or get a quick grab or a feel, or they go over and they're very more assertive in that regard, just, doing that with their words and with their actions. So they tend to push forward in that. They also, the dominant style loves different experiences. So for them, it's like, maybe it's the bedroom, maybe it's the bathroom, maybe you're joining the high mile club when we flew more often. Go over and try different experiences, different places, different toys, different positions, maybe a little risque, and go over and try some public places and hopefully you don't get caught, So that's them. They love to have those different experiences. They don't like the routine, hey, it's Wednesday, go over and do it at this time, this place, this bed, this position, this type of stuff. They don't like the monotonous things. They like to try something new. So if you are a great dominant person in the bedroom and you have the dominant sexual style, and if you're this dominant lover, here's the tip for you to go over and to connect with the different styles. Because if you have a dominant lover and the other person's a dominant lover, then it's easy to go over and connect. But more than likely, opposites attract, and you went over and met somebody that was opposite. And to have true transformation this month in the bedroom, and you're not, the lover that you're with is not dominant, you want to focus on love and intimacy as the goal. When you focus on love and intimacy is their satisfaction, instead of the, quick bam, bam, thank you, ma'am, or using it as a frustration point, you'll connect deeper in the bedroom with the rest of the styles. Now, if it's too dominant and dominant lovers, don't take this tip because that's not going to work well. They don't want love and intimacy typically. They want more of the, hey, let's do it out of, let's relieve our frustration and everything else. But if you are married or living with somebody that's going over and you're the dominant lover and you're trying to be a great dominant lover, then you go over and focus on love and intimacy as the goal. You go do that. The rest of the sexual personality styles will tend to go over and be like, yeah, that's awesome. So maybe you don't register with the dominant style. Let's go into the other three styles. What if you said that you were more outgoing and people oriented? Then more than likely, then you're the inspiring lover as your primary sexual style. With them, sex is great. And why do you say that? You're like, why ain't the dominant lovers great? Well, the inspiring lovers are great because they hate rejection. They're more apt to go over and to morph to your sexual needs, wants, and desires than any other personality style. They don't want to be rejected, so they're always trying to go for that emotional, sexual 10. They want to wow you emotionally. They want to wow you, in intimacy. They want to wow you in flirting and foreplay and all those things. So they go for the 10 on a regular basis. These people would naturally, like if you're looking for a massage during sex, they're more likely to go do that. They would warm you up. They would do the foreplay. They would do the flowers. They would do all these types of things. Now, obviously, the longer in marriage, they can wean off, but their overall goal is not to go over and get rejected. So especially if they're not looking for rejection, they're going to wow you. And that's their job. And they love to wow you. That's what their main thing they want to go over and do. Initially, they're also the naturally creative type. So people that probably created Kama Sutra and sexual positions and toys and all types of things and unique places and what you go over and do, and now you're hanging off a fan. These people are naturally creative in the bedroom. They keep the spice up. So they'll go over and, bring the roses home. They'll go and bring the flowers home. They'll go over and do the mood lighting. They'll do all these nice things. They bring it to the nice hotel. They naturally are the creative type. Doesn't matter if it's guy or girl. They also, with their sexual personality style, they love to talk. They love to share. They love to listen. These people are typically empathetic. They can go over and read the emotions of the relationship rather quickly. They also, if they're not connecting, talk, share, and listen, it's hard for them to go over and to create intimacy. They don't want to be rejected. They might do the action correct, but their heart won't be in it. So the more that they get to talk and share and listen, you're going to have a better intimate time with them. They also go over and love praise. So if you're the quiet lover, you want to be a little more verbal. They're okay with screaming and those types of things and moaning and saying dirty words and telling them encouragement to go over and to do that. They love to go over and they want to not have that rejection. So especially for them, if you can give them form of instruction, what you like and what you don't like, the intensity, how much, what you need to go over and do, switch positions, switch where you're focusing at, body parts and those types of things. They want to be praised. So they'll try to read you as much as possible. But if you can give them form of instruction, like, hey, you want to get a 10 with me? Go over and do that, because they love the praise, but they want to hear it. So if you're the quiet lover and and they ask how it was, and you're like just rolled over and you look happy, but they don't hear the words of happy, enjoyment, excitement, it doesn't work out well for them. But they love praise. So if you are verbal during that time of intimacy, awesome. It's definitely key. They also go over, and what happens with intimacy is talking leads to more talking. For them specifically, they love to be mental and emotional intimacy than anything else. So if you get two inspired lovers, they could go over and not have sex often because they love to go over and talk and chat. For them, that's like almost having like physical intimacy in that regard. So if you both are inspiring lovers, or you just are natural, want to be intimate in the sense of the emotional part, talking can lead to more talking. So for them, they don't need as much sex as the rest of personality styles. But when they go over and do, they want to hear the praise. They want to be creative, and they're usually naturally the best lovers because they can read people more naturally because they're more heart tugged because they're outgoing and people oriented. Now, if you're this inspiring lover and you want to be great, one of the tips I wanted to pass on to you is balance between talk, romance, and sex. An inspiring style and an inspiring style person are fine with less intimacy frequency in the sense of sexual. But when it comes to the dominant lover or the conscientious lover or the steady lover, they want to have a mixture of both. If you're just talking about everything and trying to woo them with the words, but you're not doing the romance, and then if you're doing the talk and you're doing the romance and sex never happens, it's always foreplay, there's going to be frustration in that regard. So you need to balance between all those things. Is talk is great and romance is a start for action, but if you don't take consistent habitual action walking through talk, romance, and sex, you might have some underlying frustrations. And the thing is you don't want to be rejected, so why not go over and visit more of the action? And it's hard usually for them to go over and to focus, especially if other things happen. So you'll have to learn the balance of talk, romance, and sex. Now, maybe saying to yourself, hey, I haven't heard my style yet. We're not done yet. We got 2 more. So you should be able to register in one of these groups that this is your primary style. Now, we know you're a blend of everything, and that's why we recommend you reading Body and Soul if you really want to get into the content. You can also go over and ask questions. We love this to be a dialogue, never to be a monologue. So the steady lover, this would be answering the question from a reserved and people-oriented style. So if you feel you're more reserved and people-oriented, that is you. We love to go here in the feed where you go fit in this, caliber of sexual personality style. As a steady lover, they need security in their relationship. So intimacy starts from the talking, from the connection, from the transactional stuff that you do and emotional stuff that you go do in the relationship. So if you want the steady lover to be invested into the situation and get to the point of wanting to having sex physically, not just from the emotional side, they need security. So they're the ones that typically, they want to see, like, if you come from the cohabitation model, they want to see that you're staying there for a long time and you're going to be consistent. And these steady lovers are usually more traditional, and they typically go over and want to get married more than the other type of lovers in this regard. So they look for security in some sort of capacity for them to open up to you sexually. From there, additionally, the setting and mood is key. So, you watch all those romantic movies, you got to have the flowers and the petals and the lights and whatever. And maybe for a guy, it's something else. I haven't met too many steady guy lovers, so I don't have much experience in that. That's why I recommend you to read the book Body and Soul, because they come from both perspectives. But setting his mood is key for them. If the room's not right, the room's not set up, if it feels stressed emotionally or physically, and the room's kind of trash or kind of disheveled and whatnot, the dominant style is like, I don't care what the room looks like. I care about the action. But the steady person is more concerned about what the room goes over and feels like. So you think of any romantic movies, I think of Raj Koothrappali from The Big Bang Theory. He would be more of this type of lover because he's always worried about, he knew what ruffle feathers were and all these other sleeve things and whatnot, a sweet neckline, all this type of stuff. He would be that type of guy, male, that probably his character would be setting a mood is key. That's the reason why, even when he was going to get married in one of the episodes through Anu, and he was like, I don't want to go tell my kids that we just got married because of this. I want to be romantic. And then when she proposed, it became romantic, the setting and mood change. And he's like, all committed. So the same thing happens with intimacy with them. They're also very, very passionate. Now, you won't see that passion initially when, at first, but this passion goes over and builds over time. But they're very passionate for their lover that they're with, committed in that regard. So your loving is going to be very passionate, very enthralled. It has to be that type of mood to go over and to increase that frequency. They're also very loyal, very, very loyal. So once they commit, they're committed, and they don't want just to go over and have infrequent relationships. I'm not saying that the dominant lover goes over and has infrequent, but if they're wanting more variety and they're more open in their values, then they would be not the consistent lover. They would be more of just one night stands, those types of things. The more steady lover is looking for that loyalty, for that connection, for that consistency, and they're very loyal to you. So no matter where your relationship goes over and goes, for them, they're very loyal to you and to the love that you go over and share. So they're looking for that, and that's what they do in the bedroom too. They're very loyal. They're also the most sacrificial lover. Now, if there's positions and things you want to go over and try, the dominant person and the inspiring are more apt to go do that naturally. But they do it based on how they go over and feel. The steady lover makes that commitment and choice to say, I might not like this position. I might not like this type of sexual thing in there, whatnot, but they want to go over and serve you. So they're sacrificial. So things that weren't open on the table early in your marriage and early in your relationship might open up as they go over and connect and have that deeper sense. And they would be sacrificial and say, okay, I might not be in the mood, but I'm willing to go over and do that for you. Hey, I might not like this as first, but as my love goes over and increases, I'm willing to sacrifice my comforts to go over and try new positions and new things and new techniques and maybe new ways of sex in general. They would go over and do that. Now, if you're the great steady lover, or you have one of these people, and this is known for yourself too, is that you want to be the great steady lover, the tip for them is like a fine wine, sex gets better with age. So it's encouragement to you as a steady lover that, hey, build your consistency. It will go over and get better. And it gets better because, again, that sacrificial love comes in. They're more passionate, setting in mood as they're deeper and connected is a little more flexible because they're concerned about the overall lovemaking and connection. And they get better as, with age. So the longer you're with them, usually like, I never thought this would happen in our bedroom. I never thought you would open this. I never thought you would be so vulnerable and all these other things. The things that we're looking for mentally, emotionally, sexually, and socially in the bedroom, it just gets better. So take that time if you're with this lover. Might not be what you're wanting initially, but the thing is, over time, they're actually naturally the best person that goes over and is a lover in that regard. Now, any lover can go over and learn the other traits, just so you know, but this lover has that natural sense to do that. Now, last is the conscientious lover. In this type of lover that's looking for sex, the first thing that they go over and look is for correct sex. So whatever they have in their mindset, the temperature, the sheets, the position, how long, and everything else, they're wanting it to be correct. If they can't get to correct, they might go over and avoid sex or maybe wait for it to go and reevaluate in regard. So they're looking for correct sex. So for them, even certain things that might be traditional in sex, missionary position, those types of things, wherever they come from, they might be like, hey, this is the only type of sex that we're going to go over and have, and that's it. And that's correct for them. They're a little more rigid. They come from the reserve and task-oriented style, so they tend to be rigid in a lot of things that they go over and do. So whatever they see is correct in the bedroom or not, they tend to go what's correct and what's correct for them. They also kind of go play by play sometimes, just like the inspiring lover can go over and talk a lot to go over and emotionally woo and everything else. They're doing it in a sense of not having rejection and that deep connection and passion. The conscientious lover comes from a different way and asks questions and clarification during that time. So again, you come from the Big Bang Theory with when it's Penny and Leonard. He's like, I might have a lot of questions. So he comes from that style too. He goes over, it's like, I don't know what to go over and do, position, all that. They're play by play. And if you're trying to go for more passion and just trying to figure it out through body language, these people that are in the bedroom having sex might have difficulty. They're like wanting to go do things right. So coming from there. And I'm seeing the comments coming in. I'm going to go over and answer those questions right then because we're almost done this. So thank you for the comments. So going from there, after they get questions and clarification and whatnot, they need to know their boundaries. Is missionary position okay? Is anal okay? Is it straight? Do we go over and do 69? How far can I go? Can I go boldly go where no man has gone before, or any woman's gone before? They want to know where they sit because they don't want to go error out. They don't like looking stupid, and they really want to have the knowledge before coming in. Going from there, they treat sex from a reward / punishment mindset. Now, I'm not saying this is right. I'm not saying this wrong. It's just what it is. And they can go over, and if things are going exceedingly well in the relationship, in the living room and in the boardroom, and they're getting other, personality, mental, emotional, spiritual, social needs, then they can bring sex as a reward. But if they feel that they've been ostracized, put wrong, look stupid, those types of things, they can use that also as a punishment mindset and say, oh, yeah, we're not going to have sex tonight. They just lock down. They recluse. And it's not even typically as much of an active style, more than like they just passively do it. So caution to go over and look for that. The last one that a conscientious lover comes from is 10, 10, and 10. What I mean by that is they are always striving to be a 10 in going over in foreplay, 10 in going over and having sex, and 10 in going over and after the fact. They want to be a 10 across the board. So if you look at it from Dior, from desire, excitement, orgasm, release, they don't want to be a 9. They don't want to be an 8. They don't want to be a 10, 8, 8, and whatnot. So they're always looking to get better. So they're always performing to get better. And that's great in that regard, that you go over and you could be honest with them and say, foreplay was a 10, sex was kind of an 8, the after emotional comfort and stuff like that was like a 9. And they will ask those questions and clarification to go over and say, like, all right, that's awesome, I'm doing a 10. Is there any way I can prove even better? And then the 9, they'll definitely go over and reanalyze and go through. And then the other one, they can go through and then figure out, maybe it was position, maybe it was frequency, maybe it was, speed, tempo, all those other types of things. Maybe they figure out they need to venture more in the other types of sex to go over and to satisfy you. So they'll ask those questions. So if you're more of the sweet, sensitive lover, you're gonna be like, this is kind of crass. I'm not there yet. For them, they're asking just more for the mental understanding so they can go over and do better. Our last tip for the conscientious lover is tell them, if you have a conscientious lover, show them how to get better, and they love improvement. So for them, you can go over and tell them and say, this doesn't work. That kind of hurts my hip. Might need to go over and adjust. Maybe we need to raise the bed a little higher. Maybe the fan's on too high or it's too low, or, hey, you're like, it's a little overbearing. Maybe it's underbearing. Maybe you need to be more aggressive, that type of thing. They love to be told and shown to go over and to do that because they really want to be a great lover and they love improvement. So we're going to go to the comments real quick before we go to our superhero challenge. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll go with that. Thanks for the comments, but I don't think that connects with our content, but thank you though. All right. So at the end of the day, we love for you to go over and to engage in this conversation. So in our superhero challenge for you today, as we have every single day, is to go over and find out your spouse's main sexual style and practice. Now, we're not asking play by play if this goes and works well, but we would like you to share an emoji on the experience that were these tips good or great or in between. So we don't need really graphic stuff in that particular regard, but we love to go over and hope that these tips go over and help you to thrive in your marriage. Now, if you're looking for specific sexual tips, definitely Body and Soul can dive more into that, or we can connect you with a sexual therapist. We do know people that work in that realm. But if you're struggling in this place of having to understand your spouse's sexual style or any part of marriage that's in the bedroom and you want that transformation, we'd love to go over and connect you with our Patreon. You can go to patreon.com, Thrive Not Survive, and as low as $5 a month, we challenge you to go over and go there to become that marriage superhero. So we hope this was encouraging for you, that this goes over and helps you go over and thrive in your bedroom. And we'll come back here tomorrow for another transformational tip / podcast to go over and help you thrive. And you can catch us on Facebook and YouTube and Periscope and on the Easy Way wall. and also Podopolo, where you can gamify your podcast. So we want to thank you for going over and joining. This is always a conversation, never just a monologue. It's always a dialogue. We love to hear your comments, to share and engage in the content. So thank you, and you have a great day.